Yo, what's up, you guys? What is up? I'm going to give my take up on Jerry Springer show. For those that don't know, for those that were born back in the 90s or late 90s, Jerry Springer show was like our social media entertainment on TV, back in the days. In 98, I was like about 14, 15. So they're trying to determine what if Jerry Springer show is fake. What if Jerry Springer pretty much like coach people into like being all wound up and or anything like that. This video is under fair use. This is for commentary purposes only. I don't know none of these clips. I just give it my commentary and let's go.
The nation. But Jerry Springer now finds himself in the hot seat. How is he facing the allegations that his show is rigged, staged fights, and coached guests? Is it all?
Well, it threw my times of watching Jerry Springer from when I was 8 years old to all the way up to in my 30s. I always thought that a lot of the stuff old Jerry Springer, like the fights, were fake just to get ratings and get views and stuff. But some of the stuff that happened on Jerry Springer really happened in real life. So yeah, let's continue.
A hoax or not? We went behind the scenes to try and unravel one of the great unsolved mysteries.
Who I sleep with or who I'm with is no one's business but mine.
Meet Delta. Not her real name, of course. That's because she is a he. Stay with me because this is going to get complicated. Delta has come to the Jerry Springer show to confront her brother Sam, who doesn't approve of her lifestyle as a woman or her choice of life.
Well, my opinion of somebody trying to be like another gender, like a man trying to be a woman, is I'm pretty neutral about it. Whatever does, do whatever makes you happy. Regardless if I agree with it or this person agrees with it or what. Do what makes you feel happy,
Lover. That would be Rose, a stripper, who wants the world to know she loves Delta, but that she's also sleeping with Milo.
Ooh,
Are you still with me?
that's crazy.
She needs me. She don't need you.
These are Jerry Springer's guests, and the only thing we can say about them for sure is that Delta is a man. After that, how much of their story is true, choreographed, or rock solid is anyone's guess.
Everyone.
Well, I think it is rehearsed. They do probably coach them what to say, what not to say. And don't get me wrong, back in the days, I loved to see the hype on Jerry Springer. It's just entertainment. It's just TV. That's all it is. But let's continue.
Who works on our show knows what the rules are, and the rules are the guests have to tell the truth, and the producers cannot tell the guests to lie.
But that's what 16 former guests.
Well, I think, Jerry Springer show is definitely a bunch of people that get paid what they do to act. It's kind of like an act. And of course, don't get me wrong, a lot of the stuff happened that happens on Jerry Springer happens in real life. It does. A lot of stories I have seen that's similar to real life type stories. Let's continue.
guests on The Jerry Springer Show alleged on the nationally syndicated TV show Extra this week.
How many of you went on The Jerry Springer Show and told the absolute truth?
I was born a man.
Can you imagine going on the Jerry Springer Show and then somebody tell you they're born a man, but they're really, like you thought that they were a woman, but they were really actually a man? But how can you not know that? Because especially when you're having relations with them, and how can you not know that? And maybe these people wouldn't have the relations. You know what I mean? I can't say the word on here, so that's why I'm using relations as the word. But anyways, let's continue.
In Jerry Springer's world, anything seems to go. And therein lies its appeal and its problem. The more outrageous the story, the more impossible it is to verify. Jerry Springer. Take Delta, for instance. The first time Delta was on the show, it was because she was one of the 2,000 to 3,000 people producers say called the show's 800 number every day. That show...
So a lot of people basically call the show so they can be on TV. I know a lot of people probably wanted to be on TV. Even back then, even when YouTube was not around, or when any social media was around, people wanted to be on TV. Who doesn't want to be on TV? Everybody does, But the thing about it is, it's certain things you gotta do and certain things you can't do. You know what I'm saying? And you have to be honest with them. You can't just be lying and stuff like that. But let's continue. But yeah, that's the social media old school era that we used to watch. Now we watch the Jerry Springer on YouTube, like all the drama communities and all the fights in the chats and everything like that. But now we don't need to watch Jerry Springer no more because we got Jerry Springer on some of these YouTube channels.
Never aired, but she was such a perfect Springer guest that the producers invited her back.
The first thing you need to remember is you got to be pumped up, energetic, and enthusiastic.
Like all
Pumped up and energetic and enthusiastic. So they pretty much tell them, before they go on the show, they tell them what to do and what to say. Pretty much, Yeah.
Springer guests, Delta and Rose, are given a briefing or a pep talk by the segment producer before they go out.
You have confidence.
And it's called a
You have
pep talk,
confidence,
pretty
you have
much.
confidence.
Some guests have referred to this as a coaching session, but
Yeah,
producers
it does
simply
seem
to
like a
ensure the
coaching
story
session.
unfolds well on the air.
You put emphasis on it so that people can feel your pain.
The show says it does try to check out guests by asking for documents like driver's licenses or birth certificates, but that its best insurance might be this.
Basically, what this release says in simple terms is that you are who you say you are.
All guests must sign a legal document and are videotaped doing it, swearing that they're telling the truth. The penalty for lying is high and intimidating.
We could sue you for the production costs up to the production costs.
So, pretty much, if somebody were to go on Jerry Springer and then they lie, basically they could sue them for the production costs. That makes a lot of sense.
For the show, which is $80,000.
We'll be right back.
And executive producer Richard Dominic says they have enforced it.
If I have guests that come on the show and sign a release that they're telling the truth and they're lying, they will be dealt with.
This is our
Just
role.
like he said. Mom, has he hit you?
Yes.
So what do guests get for telling their intimate secrets to millions? According to producers, an airline ticket to Chicago, hotel, meals, and a limo. They insist the only compensation is for lost wages or babysitting costs.
Hi, how are you?
But guests can also get their anonymity if they want it, and many do. They can choose from a closet full of clothes for a disguise, wear a wig.
So they pretty much had all the wardrobe for them, the wigs and everything like that, that they could wear on the show. So they got them covered, like hotel calls, pretty much loss of wages, babysitting calls, everything. Okay, yeah. So I see why they would sue somebody for lying and stuff.
They even use a fake name. Why do you do that? Have phony names, phony outfits, phony wigs?
Because it's insignificant to the story.
Yeah, that's just like YouTube. People use fake names all the time. And I'm not talking about nicknames or channel names or usernames. I'm talking about people use fake names all the time on social media. But anyway, let's continue.
We're not out to hurt somebody. If they feel more protected not having their identity known, that's fine.
And sometimes it's better not to have your identity known. But when you're on TV, you put yourself out there. And people can really find out who you really are, by face scanning, face recognition these days. You know what I'm saying? That's how a lot of people be scanning these YouTubers that show their face, and they be finding out a lot of stuff. And that's why a lot of YouTubers don't like showing their face, because they know that somebody out there that's watching could expose them. And I think privacy should be taken seriously. You know what I'm saying? Like, if somebody choose to pretty much put their name out there, that's what they choose. But if somebody choose to keep their personal information safe, and that's on them. Simple as that.
The interest is in the story, not who these people are. These aren't famous people.
Nope.
But just who these people are is all.
Because I know a few people who was on Jerry Springer, which I'm not going to name no names, who came on the show, back in the days, like way back, when the show was popping. And those people were famous, and I know those people personally.
Anybody is talking about this week, because these people went on television to say they weren't who they said they'd been. Overnight, everybody from the guests to the producers and everything.
So they basically was faking it. It was all fake. I wouldn't say it was a scam, but I say it was definitely fake. They was just faking it. So let's continue.
From the stories to the trademark fights became suspect.
How many of you actually rehearsed, choreographed your show before you went on?
Ooh, a lot of them.
The Springer Show took on these accusations in true Springer fashion and came out fighting. Richard Dominic.
Nobody on the show has ever participated in duping anybody, audience members, viewers at home, ever.
Even the show's security.
So what the producer is saying, that people just come over there and people just fight. They just choose to fight. The producers don't imp up the show or coach them or tell them to fight or start something or better word, pretty much try to help somebody up or try to provoke somebody or what.
Ronnie, off-duty Chicago cops spoke up. You're telling me 100% sure that what we see up there is absolutely real.
100% real. 100%. I just take it all.
At the moment,
all of this once again forced Jerry Springer to defend his show.
I'm saying if that happens, it's very rare, and it's never supposed to happen.
What seems to be happening is total confusion and media chaos. Guests who lied now say this time they're telling the truth. But other guests are going public insisting their segments were real.
Nothing was scripted. Nothing was phony.
As for the 16 people who came forward,
Nothing was scripted. Nothing was phony. Huh. It kind of makes you wonder, like, if these people were right under oath talking to a judge, would they really actually tell the truth? What if things were scripted or phony or any of that? It kind of makes you wonder that.
attacking the show's credibility, they've all signed with an attorney who says he's been inundated with offers. Meanwhile, he's consulting with a storybroker who has Hollywood contacts. I told you this was going to be complicated. Jerry, what is your reaction to these recent allegations about the people who've been on your show? They're not saying just that they lied to you, but that producers for your show were in cahoots with them and this is all a sham.
If that's true, I don't want them around. The truth of the matter is, I want the show to be truthful.
Your name is on this show. What have you done to find out who's telling the truth in this situation?
In fairness, we have had 7 years of shows. That is 1,400 shows. At 10 guests per show, which is the average, that's 14,000 people on our shows. I am sure that if you talk to 14,000 of our guests, you would find not just 16, maybe 20, maybe 30, maybe 40 people, but out of 14,000, overwhelmingly our people tell the truth.
So where in all this Jerry Springer craziness does the truth lie? Executive producer Richard Dominic says the show doesn't have a problem. It simply may have a rogue producer on its hands in the person of Norm LeBeau. Stand-up comedian Jerry Stanhope says he was recruited to appear on a Jerry Springer episode.
Oh, wow. They got a rogue producer, kind of like a YouTuber rogue mod. So, but anyway, tell me what y'all guys think about this. I think that it's fake, Jerry Springer show. But however, a lot of the stories that come on Jerry Springer show happens in real life, but that doesn't make it real, the show itself. But the show is over anyway, so who cares, right? But I wanted to do my take up on this because, why not? I did my take up on Ricky Lake. I did my take up on Jenny Jones. So why not do a take up on old Jerry Springer? And I think I did a video about Jerry Springer a long time ago. I think. I'm not really sure though. But anyways, have a good one. Have a blessed one. And I'll see y'all later. Bye.